working out. You guys.
I don't like working out at a gym.
I just don't enjoy it.
But nobody enjoys working out until it starts working, and then it's enjoyable. Like,
yeah,
I
don't enjoy working out until I start getting into shape.
I like playing, like doing sports and things like that and then you get in shape without noticing.
Or you can just go do stupid things like stupid shows that will like try to kill you and make you do extreme things and then realize that you shouldn't do any of such things, which also does not motivate you to do anything at the gym.
Is that how you justify it, that it's a workout?
I did. I kind of thought that I was going to do special forces and it was going to be a workout and I was going to get fit. I didn't think.
I want a six-pack. I'm going to go do special forces. I'm going to go almost kill myself in the desert.
Who better to get like fit than with like special forces operators?
Did you get a six-pack?
Oh, no. No, I didn't.
Case closed.
I did not get
Arrest my case.
I did not get a six-pack. I got a lot of bruises. I got a bit, no.
You got to watch your form.
My form was terrible.
When you're working out on special forces.
You know what's funny though is like there was one point where we had to do the I don't even know what it's called. It was murderous, but we had to do this like we had to go through the mud pit and through the tunnel and jump into the water and pull ourselves out and then go do
like
sit-ups.
A training course, like an obstacle course.
Yeah, obstacle course. And when I was trying to do sit-ups, I couldn't do them because like I felt like my insides were tearing out because I have had 3 C-sections. And none of the guys knew what to do with me. So as I'm like crying because I'm like, my insides are going to burst. And they're like, go to the next. So they just send me to the next person, And then finally they were like, just sit down. And that is my experience. It was bad. That was day one.
I mean, exercise is great when you have to. Like, I got really fit galloping racehorses because, like, look, if you feel like your muscles are about to give out, like, you never let go when it's the hardest to stay on, right? Because that's like on anything. That's when it hurts the most to fall or something. So you have to. You're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die if I don't. I'm going 40 miles an hour, you know?
Well, yeah.
So
do you have one of those mechanical bull things?
No.
Is that how you exercise back?
No, I exercise now with like a pitchfork mostly.
Oh, right.
On Only Farms.
On Only Farms.
And I lift things, and like I was telling Bev, I volunteer to help people move when they need to.
She's been very sweet in wanting to help me move some of the furniture
it's
that
like
I have sitting in the back of the car.
Free workout, and it's.
But having just moved, like we did, I think I did like 40,000 steps and 17 miles in one day, going up and down 3 flights of stairs. And I think it said I went up like 70 flights of stairs that day.
Kids are a great exercise too.
By the way, didn't get a six-pack from that either, which I feel totally gypped. But anyway, I think we should. Why don't we do an intro? Why don't we tell everybody who we are, what we're doing?
Hey, everybody. You have clicked on Catching Up with the Camdens. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again. We are in the middle of our Rewatch series where we're rewatching the good old days on the show. We're on episode 4 now.
Yes.
So if you joined us, if you're listening, if you're watching, whatever platform you're on, do the things. There's stuff you could do to help us out. Like it, dislike it, hate it, love it, comment,
don't do any of those
rage
things.
Post, do all the things.
No, do all the nice things. And by the way, I'm Beverly Mitchell. Who are you?
I'm David Gallagher.
I'm Mackenzie Rosman.
Yes, and we are so excited to. We're on episode 4, like David said, and that is no
weddings and a funeral.
Is it no funerals and a wedding? No funerals and a wedding.
Yes, there's a wedding in it, and there are no funerals in it.
Because the
I just watched it. That's
just
accurate.
ended.
Yeah, the funeral ended.
And that's where we begin.
Yes, that's where we begin.
But the wedding doesn't take up a lot of space.
We begin with Grandma has just passed away.
Yes.
And
what was her character's name other than Grandma?
It was Grandma.
She certainly had a name.
I thought it was just Grandma.
Thanks for calling us all out for not remembering, Mack.
No, so there's in the end of this episode, there's a comment about someone being named after Grandma, and they never really said what her name was, and I was wondering whether it was a baby named Grandma. So
I'm looking it up.
We're looking it up. Because you know who
Oh,
remembers.
it's Ruth. Ruth.
Oh, I
And
should
it's
know
you.
that. I
And
should
it's
know.
you.
I was okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
How the
Oh
tables
wait,
have turned.
wait. Hold on though. Grandma Ruth is
Was that
Eric's
mom?
mother.
Okay, so
Oh.
see, I'm not
Yeah.
as- Jenny. That's right.
Oh yes, actually that is correct. God, you did it faster than I did, Jared. So we start off with the funeral, and we also meet some other cast members.
Yeah, the
and
Hamiltons.
The
is their
Hamiltons.
The
first
Hamiltons
appearance.
are there for a quick intro.
Right, and then as we're kind of leaving the funeral, Grandpa takes off.
Yeah,
He's in a
Grandpa
rush.
does not cope with loss very well. and
Not
he
at all.
splits in a hurry.
Yes.
Leaving Annie distressed.
I don't even think he stayed for the whole. He didn't stay for the reception.
No.
Just
No.
the funeral, and he catches a cab and is like, "See ya, I'm going back to Phoenix."
Yeah, a tough day of work for me because I had to be asleep in the
limo.
limo,
Also, by the way, I
making
remember,
the money that day.
I remember being excited that we had like a limo on set and we got to like be in the limo. I just remember like that was like exciting. Does anyone even use limos anymore? Like, is that a thing? I think.
I wouldn't
Do
know.
they exist?
The only ones I ever see driving around LA are like the big truck ones and
Yeah.
the van ones and the bus ones that
Yeah, but
people rent
remember-
out for
My
like,
most memorable
remember
limo
in the
ride
90s,
was with you,
The
David.
limos were like cool.
No, yeah, they were more
The car limos.
yeah.
Town car.
Town cars
Town
and,
car,
and
stretch,
stretch limousines
but-
were more of a regular thing to see
Did we?
back in the day.
So we all roll up to the Camden household. Ruthie's asleep. Simon's asleep.
The Munchkins. They refer. So that's when they designate that we are the younger set because they refer to us as the Munchkins, and you and Mary and Barry are the only ones actually.
Awake?
Oh yeah, conscious.
You
for
guys don't
the-
get a cute nickname.
No,
The
because we weren't cute, so
Munchkin.
that's fine. But I do remember that dress, by the way. I loved that dress that I wore in that episode.
I don't remember
Wait,
the suit that I was in.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, it was hot. It was
Probably
hot.
had shoulder pads.
It was
Brett
hot.
definitely had shoulder pads.
But yeah, so we go home, and there is everyone there, and I think I call it the casserole.
I can see you futzing
Patrol,
with
the
salmon.
casserole.
patrol, yeah.
The casserole patrol, because there is just a lot of food. And
Everyone's
a lot
lined
of
up at the
people.
Reverend's house to mourn and to support their
Lost.
church family with
Yes.
with food.
Yes, and there's a lot of it.
And in this setup with the casserole patrol, we set up Simon's gag for the episode, which is that he is now faced with mortality. He's determined to figure out the physical location of heaven. He's determined to like get to the bottom of it. So while Simon sets off on his mission to discover the heaven's geographical location, we also are introduced to our key guest stars of the episode, which is the married couple that is kind of like grossly in love still. Like they're having their honeymoon phase like months in, or at least they're putting on like they are, being
Strange.
very like nuzzly and kind of,
Over the
Kind of
top.
yeah,
gross.
lots of
to be
PDA
honest.
and
It was-
stuff
yeah, it was
like that couple.
uncomfortable. Yeah, not lovely.
So
was kinda-
that's
Yeah,
awkward.
yeah. But I do.
But
I
it's
love.
a front.
I love that because only as Simon would. I love that storyline of Simon's way of dealing with death in trying to understand, like, okay, you say they go to heaven. Where is heaven? It was so Simon. Like it couldn't. It was like a perfect storyline for him.
Yeah, it's the kind of storylines that I'm really happy that I got to do
Participate in,
for,
yeah.
for my character. So like it's cute and it's innocent in its premise,
Mm-hmm.
but then it gives the show an opportunity to actually say something about the question and to hopefully say something interesting about the question, which I think they actually do in the end.
Yeah,
So,
and a way for other kids, to have breach that conversation with like your
Yeah,
family,
Sure, it's a great
It was
setup
such
for
a-
the
yeah.
conversation that any young kid might ask, which is, you tell me about this place. Well, where is it?
Right.
This, and so how do you breach a metaphysical conversation with a child? I'm gonna find out soon, I guess. I have a kid, but like, it's a cool little storyline.
Yeah.
Again, Simon's gags are pretty solid.
Yeah,
early
they
in
were
the
good.
game. So after this, Simon gets the first glimpse of trouble with the I want to call them the newlywed
Newlyweds.
couple, but I think they established that they've been married for months now, and but their whole spiel in the beginning about how deeply infatuated they are with each other seems to break when I catch
The woman
the
crying.
woman crying.
Well, I think at first you were like, "Wow, she must be really upset about grandma."
Yeah, exactly.
like,
right.
And then she
you
tries
def-
to pretend that she's actually
Well, no,
still
no,
a
I
little bit
know, but
upset
that's
about
what-
grandma.
That's what your response is, and
Yeah.
then Eric knows
Sure.
better and goes to investigate.
Simon is very observant, but still innocent.
Yes,
and so,
exactly.
And so things go over his head, but he gives it a good a good 1-4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so in
It's a
this,
very modern moment
and so
that
in
happens
the
next.
next part is where Lucy and Mary are having conversations, and Mary wants to break up with Jeff, and Lucy just doesn't understand like why, because he smells
He
good.
smells so good you could smell his cologne from across the room,
which is
is
Right.
called smell maxing, and that's something kids do these days.
Really?
Yeah, overspray cologne. This is like an internet cologne whole thing.
That sounds like what a lot of kids even know. And remember the Axe body spray that the teenagers of
Yeah,
our
it's the
time
modern
would
version
do?
of that. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So we're taking it way back.
well, wow. Yeah.
Ugh.
She's just romantic.
She-
and
yeah,
so
she
to
is,
her
yes,
it's
yeah.
like I could smell this cologne from here. How
Yeah,
romantic.
That's true.
And our lips parted.
Oh gosh. Oh
Yes.
goodness. All right. What happened next?
Well, so the next thing that happens is that Eric goes into his office, which is off of the foyer, and he finds the husband of the newlywed couple, and he confesses that he is a bigamist.
Already married.
He's
yeah.
already married.
So he's already married, which means he's married to 2 women. It's
Yeah.
very explicit that his old marriage was over, just not the paperwork
annulment.
hadn't gone through. And his new marriage is like real to him, but he can't communicate this to his wife, who he thinks couldn't understand that like the paperwork
I
has
mean,
taken a
I'm
long
not gonna
time.
lie. I would not understand if someone was like, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, but I already been married. But like, I really do love you."
It's late in the game to tell someone you've already been married if you are
Married again.
married.
But
again.
it could have been
Yeah.
sort
But-
of a shotgun wedding.
But ultimately, his sin is
Deceit.
getting married, like being in love with her and marrying her faster than the paperwork from his old marriage goes through. Like he was divorced, but the paperwork didn't go through. It just seems like a contrived sin to me. I don't know. It seems like something that should be very easily communicated between adults. So when I saw that, I was like, I don't understand what the big deal is. That was my take. With
Well,
being
yeah.
honest
Things
about
turn
it.
into
Yeah.
That's what
bigger
I don't
deals
understand.
if you wait to tell someone.
Exactly.
That's why
it's a
big deal.
contrived big deal, is what I felt. And I thought it was awkward.
Well, yeah, it's awkward.
You
It's a
never
co-
like held something off from your spouse,
And
just,
then it
like, and
becomes-
it's like it became much bigger. It snowballed.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
oh, I
snowballed.
really shouldn't
Yeah.
have said this when it happened.
No, I think I
Absolutely.
share too much all the time. Like I'm an oversharer. Like I think there's things where like Michael just would rather not know. He's just like I don't need to know that. I'm like, hey, so yeah,
Guys are like that though.
what, that they don't want to know everything?
It's like, certain things could be need to know, right?
Yeah,
I sort of enjoy telling people
Maybe.
things that they don't want to know.
we know this. We know this. we are aware. Okay. The next part is when Jeff comes in and he's talking to Matt, and he's trying to get advice of telling Jeff not to be so clingy because, Mary kind of is taking on the boys role typically, because usually the girls are very clingy and
Well, I was going to say,
perceived.
Jeff says the first really sexist thing in the episode, which is that guys can't be clingy, right? Isn't that what he says?
Yes.
Yeah.
Men aren't clingy.
Men aren't clingy. That's not a guy. Men can't be clingy by default. It's clearly not true the way he's been written in the episode. So,
Because he was quite clingy.
Yeah.
Clingy.
Yes. So Annie's crying in her room. She's having a hard time because obviously her mother has died and her father is totally nowhere to be found and completely emotionally unavailable. Ruthie wanders in to, see what mom is up to, and they try to remember grandma together through this sweet little song.
don't ruin the payoff of the episode, Mac,
It's not.
with our
Am I-
musical number.
Are you trying to kill me with your
that
eyes?
everybody
I was not
remembers.
trying to kill you with my eyes.
just
I was
kidding.
just looking at you.
Oh, sorry.
Why'd you
I
say
was just looking at you like this.
Okay, so then my sweet little moment with my mom remembering grandma is cut short because Renee, Matt's pregnant friend, walks in and it's baby time. So she has to go to the hospital, and then Matt decides that he's going to step up to the plate and be her support person through this.
Because the husband's at a comic
She's
book
not-
convention.
Where
She's
is the
not
husband through
married.
this?
They're not
No,
married.
right,
the-
but where's the father?
the
We established that he was
father.
a nice guy who got this job at the
Yeah.
church, and then he's suddenly
at a comic book
disappears.
convention.
Oh, right, because they had, I guess they did have those in the 90s.
Yeah, they did.
They started Comic-Con like 30 years ago or longer or something like that. It's been going on
I
as
mean,
long
when
as
you
we've
say
been alive.
30 years ago, you realize that is in the 90s.
That's like
I
when we
don't
made
wanna
the
talk about it. I
episode.
do not want to talk about it.
Like,
Let's not
28.
And
I'm
on,
just saying, I think
on-
it's funny that the reason why he's not there is because they said he was at a comic book
Did
convention.
they really say that? He was at that? Or did you
Yeah.
just make that up?
no.
No, why would I make that up?
Okay, on that
seems
note,
plausible.
I think we are going to take a break. We will be right back.
There's a moment where I'm pestering the limo driver about my heaven investigation. I'm like, you've seen a lot of dead bodies. Tell me where this place is, and he's like trying to eat, and he's like, leave me alone, kid, basically. And then like, they need a ride to the hospital, and he's like, ooh, I'm a driver. Get me out of here.
And then I think we come back and we find Lucy crying in the hallway.
Yes.
This was a very sweet scene. This was actually kind of fun to kind of relive. And I actually do remember it because I remember it actually being very poignant in the sense that Lucy's upset because she says it feels like there's a party going on and grandma wasn't invited. And Eric's
Yeah.
response is, this isn't really a party. This is kind of like a celebration of life. And Lucy has the response that, no, I'm talking about life, and how it doesn't feel right that grandma's not here anymore. Life goes on
That life's going on without her.
without her. And I also come later in my life, when my friend passed away, that comment actually kept resonating in my mind of how it just felt wrong when someone passes away and this whole thing of life goes on, and it's a very difficult thing to reconcile when you feel like the world has stopped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's those acting scenes that are like more than just a scene,
Yeah.
and a scene that like really has I've held on
Threading.
to for a very, very long time. And I think the way it was written, and just those moments was like a really special. And it was I pretty much I feel it, but what rewatching it brought back so much.
Yeah. It's early. It's early in the episode, but
Yeah.
MVP award for this episode goes to Bev.
No way.
This is my favorite scene of the episode by a mile. It is the best. It is the strongest acting in the episode. Your speech about how it's not fair that life moves on is moving, and it's honest, and it's beautifully executed. And you have easily the best moment in this episode. You get the
Aw.
award.
Guys.
Yeah, true story
Aw.
though. Watch it; it's solid.
Thank you.
And that stuff is not. I mean, there's emotional scenes that we have to do that are maybe less impactful or seem less important. But this scene was emotional and had a lot of weight and had something to say. And you did all of that beautifully and honestly. And so you get the award this episode for sure.
Aw, thank you.
It was
That means a
really,
lot. That
it
was-
beautiful.
It's wonderful that we all at one point through the seasons get these moments and these magical, very well written and very well set up, because I think it's very easy to overwrite situations like this. It's very easy to like overperform and all of those things. And it was simple and sweet. And it was one of those that I was actually proud of. So thank you. Now moving on. What do you do next?
I mean, when the show needs to dial in on something important, they really did a great job.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. What happens next?
I love Simon's inquiries.
So Simon is now is continuing his investigation on the location of heaven, and he sits down with Mary's clingy boyfriend. And what makes me laugh about the scene is that they play into like a bit of his like kind of jockey persona and me being this like smart, inquisitive kid. And then he says something like, I'm making all of these kind of like scientific points about how like, look, space is out there. We can account for space. We know what's beyond the sky. The whole up there argument's out the window. Like that doesn't make any sense. So like, where is this place? And then he says this kind of stonery thing where he's like, maybe it's in like the fifth dimension, man. And I'm like, interesting. It's like just kind of a metaphysical like non-answer, just enough to like to kind of throw Simon off a little bit and kind of make him think. And it's cute and it's stupid. It's funny.
So Mary and Annie are in the kitchen, and Mary's she's kind of saying that like it's sort of annoying, but she also sort of appreciates it about Eric, that when things are wrong, he always wants to talk about it, and sometimes she'd rather just not talk about it. And Annie says a comment to Mary about, jokingly, like, thanks for being so wise, but but it's cute. I mean, and they're just reflecting on, which in the episode later on, how they have different styles of handling conflict that are, in the end, you see that they're complementary. And that's that scene. That's that scene.
This is another typical Lucy moment. Jeff comes out to talk to Lucy and console her and feel, be sweet. And Lucy inserts foot in mouth like always and totally apologizes, saying that she's sorry that Mary broke up with him, which has not yet happened.
Right.
And then Lucy's kind of like, uh-oh, we are in big trouble.
Which then sets him off on his mission to like maybe take the clingy advice and be cool or something.
Right. And then all of a sudden he's trying to be like distant
aloof.
and
Yeah.
But
Mysterious.
also, by the way, when I also, I don't know
hard.
if it's in the scene right after this, that he, as he's trying to be distant, also becomes clumsy. He like starts like falling all over the place. I mean, I thought that was an interesting choice.
It's supposed to be like a cute, charming kind of like, he tries to be too cool, but he bumbles it because he's not, because he is clingy and sensitive or whatever. I think that's the play.
Got it.
But
yeah, I was like, so just because you're trying to be distant means you're clumsy. Got it. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
You guys ever had a moment where you let something slip accidentally you shouldn't have?
Oh, I am
Oh,
queen.
never.
Oh, yeah, Mac. How about that one?
Not I. It's a vault. Shut up.
David. And
I was going to make an inappropriate joke. So
yes,
I thought better of it.
I will absolutely admit that I am definitely one for opening my mouth sometimes when I should.
Yeah, not you.
Well, I was like, are you
You're
talking
good.
about me?
No, I wasn't agreeing with that. You don't. You're pretty good. I have no filter.
That's true. But that's okay. That's why we love you. So we accept it and love you. Love everything about you. So don't worry about it.
Thanks. Okay.
David always thinks before he speaks he's got that great filter, and Mac and I, we were missing it.
No.
It was malfunctioned.
Vomit first, clean it up later.
Wait, should we break on
What's
that?
that?
Or I don't
Forgiveness.
know.
Look, it's been great, but we need a break. We'll be right back.
It sounds like you're breaking up with them.
It's not you, it's me. We'll be right back.
So now we land at the hospital with Matt and Renee. And previous to this, Eric said, this is probably going to be better than birth control because
Who does he say that to?
he's going to see
Annie.
Annie.
That's
to
not
Annie,
a too
it's
Matt
like an
thing.
aside thing to
Yeah.
himself to
Yeah.
Annie.
Yeah.
That,
Matt
like,
is about to vomit. I mean, you could see his just losing it.
At some point talking to Barry, I remember saying like, I could tell when I think Barry's like goofing on the content of the scene as opposed to taking it seriously as Matt, like kind of making fun of himself or making fun of Matt. I feel like this is one of those moments where he's like, hyperventilating in the hospital, and I
Like
can't.
clutching the bed.
And I just know Barry too well, so maybe it's that's coloring it. But like, I could see Barry like having too much fun, like hyperventilating and being all shocked at the birth scene. But then as the birth really happens, and I think he does a great job of bringing it back when it counts. So we'll get to that later. Yeah, he leaves the room.
Calls,
Yeah, he kind of freaks
panicked.
out. He leaves the room and goes to the call.
I feel like there's a general theme in this episode that of people feeling like they need someone to be there for them, but not being able to reach them.
Yes,
Like,
it's exactly the theme of this episode. Yeah, for sure.
Which is cool. And then at the end, they sort of realize that, they had everything they needed within them.
So then we get back to our guest couple who are in their extended honeymoon phase that is in full meltdown, and they're trying to hash out this non-issue of paperwork, and which is more about honesty and communication,
Right.
obviously, and so but in this moment they don't get very far, because then the gag with Eric becomes that like he keeps trying to get out of the room because obviously he has this very important pressing family issue to deal with the funeral proceedings kind of ending at his house, and he can't get out of this counseling session with this couple to go be present for
And
the
there
people
for
who
his
need
wife,
him,
yeah.
who particularly Annie, who's kind of feeling abandoned continuously over the course
being
of the
abandoned
episode.
from her father,
And then by
yeah,
Eric,
yeah, by then
and
Eric.
so she ends up spending most of the time alone in the episode, which is sad.
Very sad.
And that's the heart of the episode is really Annie's grief over the loss of her mother. But as you say so eloquently in your scene, life moves on anyway without you. And so as life is hurriedly moving forward and all these other things, external things are happening to everybody in the family, she is stuck in that grief moment by herself and is immobilized in a way.
I didn't even realize until just now that like the episode has death, it has birth, and it has like union.
Yeah, it does all the things.
All the things.
All
It
the
was like
things.
literally as we're just sitting here talking about it, I'm like, wow, I didn't put all that together.
Yeah, no, it is a well crafted like thematic episode from our early days. This is, I mean, I think this is when the show was doing the most. We're gonna we'll see as that progresses how long we really hold up that standard. I think this is a great. We're setting a great standard on the early episodes with our content and theming around the given emotional lessons,
Absolutely.
So as Annie is left alone in her room to mourn, she reaches out to her dad, who she feels left her stranded, which he definitely did, in that moment of grief where the family should be coming together, and he won't even pick up the phone. And it's a sweet and honest moment.
And
Catherine
great moment from Catherine, and just like she was always so good.
Catherine's performance through these first few episodes is stellar.
Yeah.
She's absolutely stellar as the family matriarch and setting the bar high for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
In these early episodes, and she does it all very gracefully. It's awesome.
Oh, I do love this. This is also a perfect example of when Matt is calling the house to try to get a hold of Annie because he needs her. And Mary steps up and is like, you better pull it together. You got to handle this. I'm handling everything at home. You handle everything there. And it is kind of like
it's a great line from Jess.
Stepping up.
Everyone's stepping up. And also her being pretty stern, like Mary being like, oh no, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like,
and with the theme of abandonment, this is the moment where Matt has stepped up to be there for his friend, and he plays with the idea of abandoning her, that he can't be here for this. It's not his kid. It's not his problem. I need to get out of here. I can't deal with it. And Mary tells him what he needs to hear to get back in the room and be there for his friend.
Right. And then I think Lucy comes in and tries to share the bad news that she had ratted Mary out. and then gets very frustrated. And as Lucy does, she does not actually tell Mary what happened, but Bumbles and huffs and goes out the door.
Slams the door and breaks the glass. Actually.
Do I break the glass?
You can hear glass shatter.
Oh, I was like, did I break something? Am I that strong? That's awesome.
I think.
So as Matt hangs up the phone with this advice to step up and be there for his friend, you hear that the doctor is being paged over the megaphone at the hospital, and so in that moment he decides to answer the call to go back to his friend, and that could be a bit of foreshadowing into Matt's future in hospital work, going into the medical field and stuff like that. That this becomes a calling in a way.
Eric is like, pretty consistently detained by this couple having their,
Marriage
sort
crisis.
of important marriage crisis. And as he's finally finished dealing with them, they're exiting. Simon's out there waiting, and he's got
With a clipboard.
with the clipboard, and he
Yeah.
looks like he's like, well, thank you for coming, and he's basically acting like he's Eric's assistant, sort of.
I'm like polling the entire
yeah.
crowd
And
at
then
this
he's like,
funeral.
so do you think that there's a heaven?
Yeah.
Do you think that there is a separate heaven for dogs? And,
Which is a good question.
Yeah, and it was really cute. And Simon looks very professional, and he's trying to just be
All of this stuff is
responsible.
cute, by the way. I don't think any of this stuff. I'm not winning the MVP award for any of these gags.
No, but they're so cute though.
No.
No, all of the stuff is very cute.
He's just
It's-
so
all my
earnest.
stuff is very cute.
Yeah.
If not a little rushed. But that's just me critiquing myself at 11 years old.
Don't
Take
do
your
that.
time, man. So then we get back around to Jeff. It's Jeff, right?
Yes.
Jeff's storyline, where he is now in full alpha sigma mode. Maybe I don't know.
Cool.
He's trying to
He's
be cool guy
cool
that
guy.
doesn't need attention from the ladies, and so he's
Yeah, because he's suddenly busy.
right, and which makes him
He's-
come out as awkward and clumsy and all of these other things as he tries to impress Mary by being disinterested.
Which, by the way, she doesn't like.
It's so transparent, and the way the thing that I think is redeeming about the sketch, the gag, is that they do it in a transparent, goofy way, but not transparent for the audience. It's transparent to Mary, so Mary can see through it, and she's hip to his game and thinks it's. Does she think it's cute? Like she kind of smiles about it, like he's like, oh, he's leaving me alone, which is what I wanted, but
Right.
also like he's bad at it.
Yeah.
So like there's this cute thing to it that I think kind of redeems the gag a little bit and makes
Totally.
it cool.
So he totally did not get it. Like a dense guy, like did not get the whole situation. Like she's.
No, he
she
gave
like,
it a-
He like
Good old fashioned try, but
yeah.
it was a fail.
It, like
But a cute fail. Like that was I think the idea.
yeah. I also think it's funny because 2 episodes again, she was like so excited about Jeff, and then she's like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, it's not as fun once you have it, probably.
yeah,
They-
it's the chase.
a bill.
It definitely didn't live
The,
up
dog,
to the
the dog
expectations.
who caught the car.
Exactly.
Doesn't know what to do with it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, that's a cute little scene too, though, because like that conversation between Jeff and Mary, and he's like, "Oh, so that's not really what you thought," and she's like, "Well, actually,
Well,
Is
she
the scene
feels
on the-
awkward. So then we go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
We're back. Matt is stepping up. He's in the delivery room. The baby is being delivered. Barry is like trying not to vomit or something. He's doing like a thing in the
Really?
corner.
That's also Barry
He's, like,
having
touching the
fun.
But
top
that
of
to
the
me-
bed, and he's just like,
That all I see is Barry goofing on Matt in that moment as like a meta acting thing that I think is probably a theme with Barry. I'll try to call it out when I see it, but this seems like one of those moments where I see more of Barry than I do of Matt.
Oh, 100%.
But then he saves it. So he doesn't not take it seriously to the point of like throwing the gag out. He turns around when the baby is born and he gives a very charming smile of relief and realization and of joy, and you see all of the proper emotions that you would see in like a dad, right? Because the idea is he's going through all of this struggles with the birthing process as a man in the room that you would expect from the dad, but he's not the dad. So like, what's your problem? But he turns around and then you still get that proud father payoff moment where he is proud of his friend. He sees the baby. He sees the miracle of life, and he's happy about it. You know, he pays it off. He does a good job.
It's a really nice scene.
Yeah. So then we get back to my stuff, and thank God. So Simon finally gets to the big man on campus for his polling about the location of heaven to the Reverend himself, and this is where the show like really follows through, I think, on the gag and says like and gives the right answer, which is that, you know what, Simon, nobody knows where heaven is or if that statement even makes sense, and it's good that we don't, that the idea that if we knew where it was, it wouldn't be as special, that's not what the point of believing in it is about. And the show kind of follows through on a great little like metaphysical statement about these kind of things, about the serious, hard conversations that you got to have with your kid about life in a way that's approachable, and it tees up parents to kind of do this at home. Yeah. So what happens next, Mac?
What?
Now we're done.
No, we're not. We're not done. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
My kid just cut all her hair off.
Oh boy.
And you
I mean,
Like
no,
as much as yours?
No.
Wow.
She looks beautiful.
No. Mike, I told you my kid's sassy. She just got the anime cut. So like short in the back and long in the front.
Oh, cool.
Like, yeah, she's too cool, man. I love it.
That's great.
That's cute.
I want to see the back.
Your daughter in this birth scene. How were you feeling when your daughter came into this world?
I was like,
You channeled Barry.
Our birth with Lily was tough from what I can remember. It was a long labor. It was difficult. And Shauna made it happen in the end, and it was awesome. We're one of those parents who don't find out the gender of our baby before they're born. Mostly just to drive.
Oh, you did. I remember
nuts.
that. I remember being at your baby shower and you even saying that. You're like, it's killing everyone, and I love it. Because I remember coming to your baby shower, and I just remember being like, so David, like, really? And you're like, no, really?
Yeah, well, Bev
Wait
thought
up.
that I knew, but I wasn't telling everybody. And I was like, no, we literally don't know.
By the
That
way,
would be a
don't
really
care.
difficult secret to keep in, though, because someone would
Also-
eventually get it out of you through
Well, to us,
torture
what we
or
decided
other
was
means.
that, like, why ruin the surprise?
Yeah.
Like the birth is like the moment, and let's live for that moment.
I
Let's
think I
have that
had-
moment be as special as
I had
possible,
this
which means
Conversation with you
find it
too,
then.
because
Let's
I was
do
like
it.
trying to get it out of you. I'm like, but, and you're like, no, Bev.
No, like
and
we
I was
tell
like,
the doctors, like, don't tell us,
I
don't
know.
do the thing, and it's fine. That some people do that, and
mean,
it's
you'll
the thing
find
you
out
can do.
eventually,
I
so.
recommend it. It's awesome. So in that moment, you know, that I remember the doctor holding Lily up and saying it's a girl, and seeing her for the first time. She was a tiny little thing, you know. She was only just over 6 pounds, like I was when I was born, really small. And then I got to go out to the family, my family and Shauna's family is all waiting, and I was like, it's a baby. And they were like, oh, like they hated me so much in that moment. And then I got to tell everyone that we had Lily, that it was Lily. It was a girl. And it was awesome, man. It was most excellent.
Did you have any like guesses? Like, what did you think it might be a girl or a boy?
Everyone guesses.
I'm right,
Everyone
but
thinks
what
they
were you-
know
what was
what
your-
it is because of this and because
No. But like, what was
your
your
belly
guess?
is like on the crescent
He didn't
moon
wanna guess.
phase,
He
and then
wasn't
so
willing
that
to
means
even
that
have
it's
that
a
conversation.
boy,
Yeah.
girl, boy.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
You just, I don't know. It's all. Everyone had a guess. It was pretty much 50% boy guesses and 50% girl guesses, and guess what? Half of everybody was right.
yeah.
So like, you know.
That's true. Fair.
But like I enjoyed the anticipation of it.
I remember you
I
loved it.
enjoy it. Doesn't make me, you know, for as anxious as I can be, it doesn't make me anxious. I find it enjoyable. The suspense, it's fun.
So now back at the house, Eric's overwhelmed and neglects to consider Andy's crisis. He's unable to be there for her.
Okay, so then we come back to the house, and Eric finally makes his way to the bedroom where Annie has been holed up for the day, grieving alone, and does his best to apologize for not being there for her, and because of reasons, because of all of these things, this couple, and he should have been there, and oh my God, I had to deal with all this stuff, and almost in his apology forgetting the real fact that she's been alone this whole time with heavy grief. And so again, Catherine delivers in this scene with some righteous quiet anger, which is the scariest kind of anger.
Yeah.
But still being an excellent in the way that the show was written, where like everyone is still a great communicator even though they're angry, because when you get angry, communication is usually the first thing that goes out the window, and everyone just is yelling and saying nothing. But instead, Catherine says, I'm feeling a little bit abandoned right now, and brings the whole point of the episode to a kind of a point, which is a great scene, and gives Eric a proper opportunity to apologize and be sorry.
Yeah. This is what happens when David actually watches the episode before we do it. After this, there's a little scene with Simon and Ruthie at the top of the fictitious stairs. He's, again, still trying to figure out the actual location of heaven. And then, it's basically, where you are when you are no longer alive. But then he expands it to where you are before you were born. And Ruthie says, well, I was in my mommy's tummy before I was born. But then he's like, well, where were you? Or one of them says, where were you before you were in your mommy's tummy? And
this is Ruthie's insight, though, not Simon's.
Yeah.
This is your opportunity to be kind of to shine above your station and show that you're a little baby who has insight into the world.
Yes. So then it's just the concept of where you are before you exist in any form, I think.
Yeah, it's a clever. It's a very. It's a point
it's
that
also
everyone's
touching
heard.
On the cyclic nature of life in general.
I think, it's what I'm saying is that like this point has been made in this metaphysical conversation at large, but the clever thing that the show does is have you make the point, because you're the youngest, you're the closest,
and I'm the closest to birth.
So that having
I'm essentially
this
in the cyclic nature. I'm the closest one to the period that we're talking about.
Right. So having you make this point is the clever piece that they did here.
I have a crazy kind of off the subject, but I'll circle back on this. Is I did celebrity ghost stories because I did a movie at a haunted insane asylum, and I went back with celebrity ghost stories to that insane asylum. And while I was walking through talking about ghosts and all these metaphysical things, at the very, very end, the medium said, "Are you pregnant?" And this is when the cameras weren't rolling. And I said, "Oh, nope, definitely not." And she said, "There is a little girl, and she's coming, and she's been waiting for her opportunity. She's coming soon." I got pregnant the next month. So the little girl was like before her. Yeah. And that was Kenzie. Isn't that crazy though?
That is, well, you asked for it, I guess.
To get pregnant?
Yeah.
No, I went to an insane asylum. I definitely didn't ask her to get pregnant.
Kenzie asked for it.
No, I do. But it was also crazy because she also brought up my friend who passed away and said that she was the angel that was protecting me while I was on set, and kept telling to ward off the bad spirits, saying, no, she's safe.
There were no bad spirits on our set.
No, on my haunted insane asylum, yes, there were. There's a lot of bad spirits. Some were alive.
This was after you said.
Have you ever seen a ghost or things? Because I don't. Like, they don't. Okay. I don't feel earthquakes.
We'll circle back. Yeah.
Never have seen a ghost or felt anything like whatsoever close to that.
Save it for Halloween, guys.
Okay. So then when we come back, Eric is at the church with the couple who is having this, really important marriage crisis of paperwork, and they're renewing their vows. And sort of in between, you have a scene. Eric can kind of see Annie sitting in the pews watching this, and it's almost as if Eric and Annie are at the same time renewing their vows with each other as the couple is actually going through that ritual. Really, it's only eye contact between Annie and Eric, no dialogue, but you see the resolution of their feelings of being disconnected with each other, and a lot of the watery eyes in that one, I think.
Yeah, as the couple...
You can say it.
No,
as the couple reaffirms their love, it sort of brings Annie and Eric's...
we rack focus, which is
the big thing that we...
like a technical kind of cinematography thing that they do in film. They rack from the couple renewing their vows to Annie in the background, who's mouthing the vows along with them, but to Eric. And so which is a great way for her to forgive him for him not being there for her through the day. And so they get that moment of connection and forgiveness. And we kind of reaffirm their love while we reaffirm the couple's love all at the same time. Nice little bow.
Yeah. So then we come back and Matt walks into the backyard to find Jeff and Mary playing this, happy game of basketball. And he says, guys, like from what I've seen, that's what kissing can lead to. And I really think that you should break up. And and then they're like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. And I think it's really kind of funny how Matt is the one in charge of like Mary and Jeff's relationship, and they just go along with it the whole time. They're just like, all right, yeah, whatever you think is best for us to do, that's fine. We'll do that, Matt. And then like they continue just going, yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
Well, instead of breaking down the drama of the day to him, they decide to just let it go. Let him think that
let him have his
decided.
Moment. Yeah.
And so they give him that victory and laugh knowingly about it. And it's cute.
It's a cute moment between the two of them. I think this is the end of the episode is very sweet, where like we're all kind of diving into the pie. I remember that pie actually too.
I have fleeting memories of the team coming up to smear pie on their face.
Yeah. Was this one? This wasn't when we ate. This was a different pie eating scene, but there was another one that was
blueberry pie.
This was not the blueberry pie eating scene, was it?
Yes, it is a blueberry pie eating scene.
I remember it being smeared all over my face.
That's in the scene.
I remember having to eat it and then just like hurl it into a bucket next to the thing because it still is. It was that one. It was that early.
Yeah,
that scene was probably my least favorite scene ever in the history of the show.
You look like a little doll from a horror movie.
Yeah,
during the pie eating
But this is also another.
I felt like I was in a horror movie
where we break into song.
Yeah, and then for whatever reason,
so we're
singing.
I'm upstairs singing Grandma's song with Grandma.
We're eating pie first,
and then
you go upstairs.
Oh yeah, and then I had all my face. She has to clean it off.
Yeah.
For as much screen time as the pie eating got, I really feel like they made us eat pie. When we were shooting that, it felt like we had to be eating pie for hours.
I think this was also the early
days.
And
then it's just like, a master.
This was the early days when it wasn't necessarily, we weren't all great at understanding, like, because everything tasted good the first bite.
Pie?
The first bite.
Yeah.
The 300th bite, we all wanted to die.
I hate pie, so like every bite of it made me gag.
But when you're eating food on camera,
it's just not. You just don't do it. Just push it around.
Just know better.
Yeah.
So you want it because remember, every time on every shot that you're seeing, you have to take the same bite at the same time,
same amount.
So if you're sitting there,
just
real hungry before you start that scene, and you're like, oh great, I'm gonna eat pie.
Yeah.
By the 4 hours later, when you're still shooting that scene, still eating pie,
and it's the
you
same
hate
pie.
yourself.
It's not like a new pie. It's not a fresh pie.
It's the
it's
same
not a hot
one.
pie. It's the same nasty pie.
Sometimes they got some backup pies ready to be
microwaved
and thrown in the mix, but it's not fun. So,
but then, it is that moment where after you're upstairs singing with Mom and you're singing Grandma's song, and then we can hear it downstairs, and we all kind of break out into song. I did not realize how much music was involved in our show, and how much singing.
Yeah, we're on like episode 4 and we've had like 3 times we've broken into song. Different. There's Mary and Steven doing the hoedown.
Yeah.
There's
trying to break up my date.
There's the pie song.
Yeah.
There's
the church song when she sings.
There's the church number that Renee does.
Yeah.
We're already like, we're 1 for 1 on singing, which honestly is something I blocked out of my memory completely, because I still was shocked when I remembered when we were doing the real musical stuff, and I panicked and was like, I don't want to sing.
The question
we've been doing it the whole time.
Is there going to be a song in episode 5? We will have to find out. So Be sure to stay with us next week.
There's another scene though.
Oh, is
Or
there?
in 2 weeks.
There's the grandpa. Yeah,
Oh.
grandpa coming back, and he apologizes to Annie. Yeah, hold on.
I was like, ready to, I'm like, the episode's over.
Yeah, so grandpa actually finally he comes back to the house.
That's right.
And
Oh,
he
yeah.
apologizes to Annie, and
That's
they have
true.
this really touching moment. I think it's in Annie's bedroom, and
Yes.
it's before the singing, I believe, because that's how it ends. And he says that he didn't actually make it to Phoenix, and that he went to the cemetery,
He went
and
back
he
to
sat
the
there for 2
cemetery.
hours. And I think he says that he really didn't say much at all because Jenny has heard all of his jokes already.
Very sweet.
You know, he tells Annie that he's never really been very good at dealing with that sort of thing. And the wrap up of that little disaster, at least relationship wise.
Yeah, it's
Is-
a great way to
is
tie
done.
up Annie's
And that's when they start
grief
singing.
and
yeah.
abandonment, which is the
Right.
core theme of the episode, and having her dad come back and apologize for not being there for her in that in the family's moment of need.
And also that circling back too of that everyone deals with grief differently, and some want to be surrounded by people and some want to be alone. And in that moment, like he's recognizing that Annie needed him, but he needed to do what he needed to do in those moments too. So it's also
Yeah.
this kind of this very sweet understanding of
Taking care of yourself.
yes,
And taking care of
others.
others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we
Camp Granada.
Shut up. Yeah, it's the thing is, can we sing Grandma's favorite song?
Which turns out to be Camp Granada.
Which turns out to be this this like campy like what is this song? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but it's been stuck in my head my whole life. And
It
maybe this
stra-
is why. Is it not a song
It
that you
strikes
hear
me-
a lot? Because I have it
haven't
like
heard it.
very solidly in here, and I've like hummed it from time
Maybe
to time
I'm wrong about this.
in my life.
But I
Like,
feel like the melody is a classical melody that then the Camp Granada song is like a spoofy kind of lyrical addition to it
I think
at a later time.
I probably had
Maybe
to
I'm
sing
wrong
it
about
so
that.
much to practice for shooting that I
It
feel
strikes
like
me
it's a
as
really
like a
popular
Looney
song.
Tunes type song. It seems like something from like the Animaniacs or like a Bugs Bunny or something. I don't know.
We'll see.
maybe that's a WB, yeah. Maybe that's a WB Easter egg.
But you,
Looney Tunes was Warner Brothers, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, that's I don't know. I don't know the history of the song, but I seem to think that the melody is older than the spoofy kind of lyrics to it. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. All I know is I know it very well.
Yeah, it's one of those melodies that everyone should know or
Yeah,
be familiar
I
with.
think you definitely do.
The song is actually called Hello Mudda, Hello
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello,
Mother.
Mother.
Alan.
Hello, Father.
I think it's older
Hello,
than that.
Father.
But this version, it is based on Dance of the Hours, an Italian composer,
Thank you.
Amilcare Ponchielli.
I was correct. Haha.
Another point for David.
It's a classical melody that was rebranded as a goofy song. Awesome.
Well, on that note, David is right, and we are going to wrap this episode up. So be sure to like us, follow us, push all the buttons. Thank you so much for listening, and catch us next time on Catching Up with the Camdens.
Peace. Hey guys, check us out on Patreon for early access to Catching Up with the Camdens episodes, exclusive group and individual content, access to all three of us via chat, and more.